Hey everybody, Mark Dawes here, and let me give you a quick preview of the updated NFPS Level 3 Risk Assessment Training Award course. Now, when we initially wrote this, we wrote it as a BTEC Level 3, so it went through an awarding body approval process. We're not offering it as a BTEC anymore. The BTEC's actually lapsed and we've never renewed it, but it is still written to that awarding body Level 3 standard, which is something that's regulated by Ofqual. And if you do this course, you'll end up with an NFPS Level 3 Risk Assessment Certificate. So let me give you a quick overview. There's an introductory video there, which you obviously watch when you go on. And then the first part here, how to do a risk assessment, goes through all of the things that any normal risk assessment course would take you through. So you can get this stuff anywhere. So the overview, the legislation, etc., the 5-stage process, identifying hazards all the way through to reviewing your assessments. That's the standard thing, and that's what you get with most risk assessment courses. But let me show you where ours takes you next. We take you to the manual handling regulation, because we've written this course around people who deal with violence at work and who use physical skill techniques, so restraint, physical intervention, whatever you want to call it. So these manual handling regulations, we look at how they apply to physical restraint techniques. And this is quite unique. No one's done this before as far as we're aware. I know we were one of the first to do it. We've also got a module here on risk assessing mats. Now, lots of agencies out there use mats and lots of organisations allow their training to take place on mats, but mats in themselves create a hazard. And there's been a case where someone was injured on a mat and the hospital got prosecuted for it, they got sued for it, and it was settled out of court, but we'll talk about that there. Hugely important to you. Next, we go into the relationship between motor learning and performance. Now, if you've trained with us before, particularly on our restraint course, you'll know a lot of this stuff, but now we're bringing it in to a risk assessment model. We're looking at how do we actually take this information and put it into a risk assessment model so we can risk assess how someone with an elevated heart rate is going to be able to use certain techniques in high-risk situations. So you can actually risk out, or you can actually risk assess out techniques that won't work and risk assess in techniques that you should be doing. This is hugely valuable in itself. Then we've got a whole section here on risk assessing violence at work, including bespoke documentation that's been produced specifically for this. And I did this in conjunction with Colin Ash when he was the head of health and safety for a large NHS trust. And we looked at all the issues around violence at work, and we produced these risk assessment templates and forms so you can gather information from departments and from staff. And it was hugely successful. And I don't think anyone else is doing anything like this. So that's there. So this is the course. We've updated it. We've put loads of new stuff in there for 2019. It's going to be available very, very shortly. And if you're interested, keep your eyes open because I'll be launching this soon. And if you are someone who deals with violence at work or a physical skills instructor, this course is absolutely critical for you. It should be part of your stable, because if you don't know how to do a risk assessment, if you're not a competent or qualified person in this field, how are you going to justify legally what you do if you're challenged in a court, particularly a civil court? Because one of the things they'll ask for is a risk assessment, and I'm sure Bungie Williams will have a word to say on this one. Not only will they ask for the risk assessment, but if they see the risk assessment, the opposition lawyer will ask whether or not the person who did it was competent and qualified to do it, because you can pick holes in risk assessments if you don't know how to do them. And this is here to safeguard you. I'm very proud of it. I'm looking forward to relaunching it again. So keep your eyes open. There'll be some information out soon, and we'll let you know when it's available and what the process will be. Take care. Speak to you all soon.